Good morning. Once again, I'm Adam Powley. I'm the professor here in History 202 for your online class. I just wanted to take a moment and answer a couple of questions that I've been getting about the dialectical journals, go over a little bit about the week 2 activities, and hopefully it will clear up any confusion or concerns that you may have had. I do intend to have a few weekly videos like this. Sometimes we'll talk about content, sometimes it'll be about what I've been reading from assignments. This particular one, I do just want to take a moment and look at the dialectical journal entry for this week. This is going to be a semester-long project, so don't feel like you have to have it all done right now. The instructions are here, but I do want to just talk a little bit about the assignment for today. This week, by Sunday, the goal is to set up a blog that you can update throughout the semester. After this week, which is week 2, the goal is for you to add a primary source per week until the end of the semester. After this week, I will pop in, I'll spot check, I'll take a look at your blog and see what you're doing, but I'm not going to give you an official grade until that last week. So you can, you have a few options. You can add a source every week, like I have sort of laid out and planned. The other option would be that you can try to get this done all at once. The third option, which I think is the worst of the three options, would be to wait until the very end of the semester and add your blog posts at the end of the semester. I don't like that option because I think it might take a little bit longer for you to do this than what you think. A good dialectical journal entry, you're going to read through the source. You're pulling out 5 or so quotes, 5 at least, quotes from the primary source that you think are interesting, compelling, they tell you something that you didn't know, they surprised you. You're going to write those down on the left side of a T-chart, or if you want to make this a bullet point list, this would be the first thing on your post, and then under that you'd have a comment, and then you'd have your second quote, and then under that a comment. How you want to set that up is really your call, but I want to be able to see that you're pulling out quotes from the source and then you're interacting with those quotes in some way. And by interact, I mean maybe you have a question about the quote, so you're going to write out a question that might lead to a further discussion. You can put in a discussion post. Maybe you make a connection to the modern world. Maybe you have a connection in your personal life, so you're writing out that connection in your personal life. Maybe you read the quote and you make a connection to some other material that you've learned in the class. That would be a fantastic connection. So you're responding to that quote in some way. It could be questions, it could be comments, it could be connections to the material, but it's your connection to the primary source. Now, for this assignment, I want you to create a blog. That way we can keep a running list of it, and I don't have to have you submit it as an assignment. Also, it's on a website, so you can share that blog with whoever you'd like. If you would like, I can share the blog on discussion posts. You can post your blog so that other students in the class can see your reactions to the primary sources. That's your call. It's your website. It is one way for me to easily curate your posts. If you would like an alternative way of doing this, if you're not comfortable with using the blog format, please let me know, and we will try a different format. But that's up to you to take that initiative to contact me about it. Blogger is fairly straightforward. It is through Google, so if you go to Blogger, you can set up your blog. If you have problems with setting up the blog, let me know. Each post would be a weekly primary source, and I think that should do it. If you don't want to use Blogger, if you prefer something like Weebly, I use WordPress for my personal blog. So if there's some other website you'd like to use, that's fine. All I ask is that in this assignment down here for today, when you submit your work, all I'm looking for is for you to publish the blog that you've created and then send me the URL address. You also have your first blog post due, which maybe I did not in the website give you that. Let's see if it's on the Moodle page. It doesn't look like it. So here's where you would go. You're going to go to the American YAWP. And then from the American Yawp, we're going to be looking at the primary source reader. Now, this is an online textbook. Some of you may have been reading the online textbook because you don't have your other book yet. But if we go to the primary source reader, it's actually broken down quite nicely by chapter. For week 2, we would be looking, I think, at chapter 17, which is this Conquering the West. And in week 17, you're going to notice there's a whole bunch of primary sources that you could take a look at. Now, you can do a blog post on one of the images, but you're going to have to do a little bit more work because you're going to take 5 things from the image and you're going to respond to them. If you're going to do a source, like here's 4 sources here, you can choose one of these 4 sources. You click on the link, it opens it up. You give me the name of the source, and then you read through the source and you pull out 5 quotes that you think are particularly compelling to you, not to me necessarily, but to you, and then you're going to make a comment on those. So again, that's the American Yawp reader, and you can go from there. Overall, the dialectical journals, they're going to be due at the end. You're going to have 1 primary source per week. You're going to interact with that primary source on your blog. And then occasionally, when we have exams, so during exams week, you will have a primary source dialectical journal reflection paper. Now, all I'm looking for in the reflection paper is that you reflect on what you've learned over those last 3 sources. Maybe it's 2 sources, maybe it's 4 sources. But I want you to reflect on what you've learned since you wrote your last dialectical journal reflection paper. So maybe it's a change in the country, maybe you've noticed a pattern in what you are reading. It's a 1-page max. This is just another way for me to sort of spot check and check in to see that you've been doing the assignment. Here's some questions for you if you're interested in answering particular questions. You do not have to answer all the questions. You really don't have to answer any of the questions. These are more of a guide. What I do ask is that on the reflections, you don't simply restate and summarize the source itself. I want you to make some connections between the sources and the other content that you're learning about. So in week 2, we're looking at August 27th through September 2nd. You have your weekly readings. You have your secondary source analysis paper, which if you have questions on that, please let me know sooner rather than later. You're going to be using the Coastal Library in order to find an academic journal. I believe I have you going to JSTOR, which is a great database. If you have an alternative that you would like, just again, I'm trying to give you some freedom here to look at something you want to look at. We're looking for academic journals, something that's more peer-reviewed. So you're not going to go to history.com or pbs.com. I want you to use that JSTOR database or another one of those databases on the Coastal website, the Coastal Library site. You should not be looking for reference material like an encyclopedia entry or a dictionary or a biography entry. Those tend not to be historical arguments, but a collection more of facts. I want you to see how historians are building arguments and interpretations using the primary sources and other data available to them. And then we have our discussion forum. So we have your readings, we have the secondary source analysis, a discussion forum, and then this semester-long dialectical journal project, which we'll be taking a look at. I will check in with you guys on Monday. I will try to do a little bit of an update. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Those of you that have emailed me know that I try to get back fairly quickly, definitely within 24 hours, usually much quicker than that. All right, so have a wonderful rest of week 2, and I look forward to talking to you all a little bit more. Thanks.